you know, so those are kind of interesting. Then I had a golden husky playing Dungeons and Dragons at a table, and I am absolutely certain that the little guy in the bottom left is going to end up as an NPC in my campaign at some point. They are way too adorable to way too adorable not to use. So, yeah, no, that's this one came out unreasonably nice. I really like the one in the bottom left, like less D&D and more shopkeeper, but I mean they did generally get like the dungeon master vibe of a tabletop game, which is kind of cool. Then I tried changing the dog a little bit and got this like little tea room dog instead, which also adorable. But you know, I was trying to get Toby playing Dungeons and Dragons, but couldn't quite get there. Did use Midjourney for some inspiration, placeholder art, and D&D module I'm writing. Some very specific prompts that I couldn't find sources for on legit sites. Yeah, and I mean that's the thing is like I don't think that this could ever replace. This is just Chaos Goblin. I just wanted to see what it did with Chaos Goblin. So there you go. Yeah, like Midjourney, you can hop in there and do a bunch of images. Like I didn't pay anything to do all of these. Um, and then I made a number of attempts at. Oh, you need a little Toby. We can make a little Toby happen. Why my tablet's not. Yeah, like I at this exact moment, I think the ethics of the whole situation are far too mired in controversy for me to consider actually paying for AI art. However, to use a free AI generator as like, hey, here's visually kind of what I'm looking for, um, that's not bad. I think if you can give a better starting point, that might be a little bit easier. Need to get a higher resolution up top camera though. That's it's on the wish list. Gotta get that sorted. But yeah, so on the printer we tried making this, and the whole thing went together. There's another piece here, and the whole thing kind of clamps together and creates that mold shape. And we did a set of inserts, the bottom half of the mold so far with it. I need to get some stuff that I still gotta clean, inhibit, and re-pour for the second half of this mold. But we poured this in it, but we had some leakage in these inside corners here. So what we did on stream a little while ago, last week, days, months, years, I don't know, is we designed a new, does that one actually cover? Nope. That one's set to the wrong one. Oh no, because Prusa Slicer was open. And then it wasn't because, yeah. Okay. So let's flip over to that. Let's quickly. Ow. Come on. No end of issues with tech tonight. There we go. Could you, in theory, create a glow-in-the-dark resin, but then paint most of the outside black, leaving the numbers of the glowing bits rather than normal glowing dice with painted numbers? Yes? I don't see why not. Probably the best way I could think to do that. How would you do that? I mean, I don't think there's any difference between that and just using glow-in-the-dark paint on an opaque dice, though, right? Because, like, if you just use glow-in-the-dark paint, you'd get the same effect without having to do a whole bunch of crazy, weird resin stuff that might screw things up. But, yeah, so this is what's on the printer right now, this is the new print base, which has a new top portion, and this actually has space for a gasket to sit in it. Okay, yeah, I can see what you mean there. Yeah. Yeah, I know that people have done some LED dice that have that kind of vibe, which are hilarious and excessive. As far as a 3D print showcase, we'll, because this one has been, we printed this on stream, and then I put it together and I hung it in the background and I didn't actually show it off. So this is a little scale version of, I think I scaled this by 30 or 40%. Little scale version of a sword from the game Godfall. And I'm actually really pleased that I scaled it down because it's really cool and really pretty. And it's actually a really lovely one-handed size and it doesn't fill my entire space. So one of these days I gotta go through, trim, sand, fill, you know, gap fill, and all of that. Godfather. Yeah, it wasn't a machine gun that it was his little friend. It was actually a over-the-top fantasy sword that's highly impractical. So, yeah, there we go. So I wanted to print this as a scale model to see how the fitment and how different things come together. Yeah, fair enough. No, I can appreciate that. Yeah, I think the LED dice might get close to what you're looking for. There are... that's a really bad... I can't vouch for any of this. I do know one or two... I have seen one or two people that actually do have them in hand, but variations of this are on the market. The problem with them is that they have an internal battery, and... oh no, no railroad at all. They have an internal battery that is non-serviceable, and while some of them will say that they charge, there's also like good for X number of rolls, you know. So they're really pretty and really cool. However, you know, you do have that situation where you'll have the LED for X amount of time, and then eventually it's just going to stop working, and it'll just be a black dice with kind of like with white-ish numbers. So the internal battery is why I say nope. Even if they were recharged, there's still finite service life. Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? So yeah, that's the part where... so the part that I've seen more interesting is something that's come out recently, is what people are dubbing wireless LEDs, which is basically an LED that has a built-in charging circuit. So they look like... and again, they look like this. So a couple of people have put these in dice, and that works because you're not putting a battery in there. You're not blocking the battery or anything like that. In this instance, it's an LED that has a little Q charging coil wrapped around it, and then people are putting those coils into their dice tray. So then you roll your dice into the tray, and then when the dice is in the tray, it illuminates itself. You know, obviously that means you have to plug in your dice tray and all sorts of other weird stuff like that. But yeah, no, people have been really kind of messing around with these little guys quite a bit lately, especially in instances where it's like you want something kind of cool and interesting in LED, but you don't want to manage a full power supply circuit. You can kind of put a wireless charging coil nearby to get power to it. But of course, then you're dealing with all sorts of inefficiencies and on and on. And while I don't think that, you know, losing a bit of, like, if you're pulling, you know, 20 milliamps and you end up losing, you know, 20% efficiency, I don't think that's the end of the world. But I do think keeping efficiency in mind is something that's important. Where did we end up here? Yeah, there. End up kind of moving down this little line. I actually really like how some of these ended up being. You can place the leads into the pips and make a cradle for it that sits into power it and make it glow when it's in the cradle. That's absolutely true. Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways that you can play with it, but yeah, and this is the absolute last one I got. I was attempting to make Bob. I ended up with a couple of interesting faces that don't look super cursed, and then I tried a variation, and I ended up with three faces and a cow with long hair. So there you go. That is yeah. That's what peak performance looks like. The future is now. Beware of the Skynet. Yeah, so that's a whole thing. All right, let's quickly close those. Get back over to oh, hi there. No, I was at AliExpress is where I was. Okay. So I don't think I'm going to find anything revolutionary here, but I do want to make sure I'm not missing something super obvious. Yeah, most of these are going to be just that kind of socket. Yeah, and see, there is something to be said for, Rain's being mean again. Don't see it. Didn't see nothing. There is something to be said for an array of this kind of nature, which can be kind of interesting. These ones are just the bases for cob LEDs, which are meant for dissipating heat and the like. But I'm not seeing anything here that's really making me just do a female header. I think that's all I'm going to do is just a... Yeah, I think simple is best, and you can get this stuff super cheap. Yeah, 10 pairs, 20 pieces, 10 pairs, 10 and 10, or you could get straight. Yeah, I think that's all I'm just going to do. Just got to make sure how many pins are in a single strip. I'm hoping it's written and I don't have to count them. 40. Perfect. 40. Wow. Okay, that's fun. All right. So, people that have been here before would recognize KiCad. People that might be new here might not. Is that what you mean? Hello, hello. Welcome in. How's it going this evening? Welcome in, Ian. How you doing? Prepping my ugly Christmas sweater. Nice. I does the gaming, just you don't want to see the games I play. Oh, that's funny. Let's do 5 LEDs on 1 resistor. I think that seems reasonable to me. Kind of contemplating what kind of drunk my next character is going to be. I love that energy. Just extremely boring. What kind of games do you play then? I am confused. Oh, idle games. I have no patience for idle games at all. None. None at all. They require no paid. You're expecting me to care about a game that plays itself when I'm not there. If I can walk away from it and not care, why would I want to walk back to it and actually start caring? I don't like idolatry. No, honestly, the whole idle games, like, if a game happens to have an idle mechanic in the background, fine. No issues, no complaints, no questions. That's fine. No issues with that. Ragnarok Online Mobile. Because bunny. When your source and numbers go up on demand can be soothing. I mean, like, I'm not, like, and again, I'm not gonna say, like, I get it. I get why people enjoy, like, I get why people enjoy the idle games. I do. I just personally, like, I don't have I spend so little time gaming that when I do actually sit down for a game, I want it to be one that I actually feel like it actually makes a difference and makes it like it matters and it actually means something that I'm being there. So like an idle game for me is not worth my time because if I'm actually taking the time to play a game, yeah, some management games can become idle at a certain point. Yeah, get your achievements or buy your items. Yeah. But yeah, like, that's the thing, is, like, if I'm going to take the time out of my day to do something like that, generally I want it to be something that, you know, means something for me to be there. And also a game that kind of respects my time. Which seems to be something that's become more and more of me, in that nature. Oh my word. Words are hard. So something that's become a bigger and bigger factor for me is games that respect my time. So I find games that have the reason Mothman doesn't like idle games, the reason I don't like games with dailies and other such mechanics. Yeah, and like, that's the thing, is like, I find with like the idle games in particular they're designed to try and pull you in to waste your time so that you spend money. And whether or not you're spending money or anything like that, that's neither here nor there. But to me, especially when it comes to gaming, I don't have much time, so I want to feel like I'm getting value for my time. Time is one of the most valuable things I have at the moment. So if I'm going to spend my time on your game, I want your game to respect the time that I'm giving it. So I've had, and games, not even games that have microtransactions or anything like that. Like, there was a very well-reviewed game that I tried. Jomsy, welcome in. Thank you for the 100 bits. Thank you for your Twitch microtransaction. Your hype is in the mail. Yeah, there was another game, and like, because like it's something that's become very, very popular in like the Dark Souls era, where it's, you know, games that are just brutally hard for no reason with no sense, where it's like you don't actually have a like there isn't actually a game once you know how to kind of get past the things. So those can tend to annoy me a lot. As you can imagine, as a result, I tend to spend a lot of time in either story-based games or in base building games. Factorio, Satisfactory, you know, Minecraft, Terraria, Stardew Valley, whatever. Stuff that, you know, they're mindless. They don't mean anything, but, you know, at the end of playing a game for an hour, I can kind of point at it and say, look, this is what I did. And that's kind of the big thing for me. But yeah, I have no tolerance for ads as well. One of the only games I actually play on my phone, and it kind of pops on and off fairly regularly, is one called Archero, which is kind of a no ads on my phone. It's definitely a game that's trying to get you to spend money, and not even a small amount of money, but like a stupid amount of money. However, the big difference in that one is that the ads are all optional. Ripping your monitor back to speakers. Oh no. I'm sorry to hear that. Alright, we're going to make a couple of these arrays. Hold on. I actually want to grab that jumper because I want each... You know, that temptation is real of like, I bet I could probably fix it, but it's under warranty. But I bet I could probably fix it. It's a trap every time, I tell you. That's where right to repair legislation becomes so important. You should be able to pull your stuff apart. You should be able to pop it open and take a look without voiding a warranty. And technically, you can. Technically, they're not allowed to void your warranty for that. However, they can make your life absolutely miserable when you try and... yeah, exactly. Hostile design, which is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 40. That's one header. That's one header row. Okay. Cool. I mean, and it's that weird spot between, like, a molded shell can fall in that weird line between, Some of those don't release parts. Yeah, and like their hostile design comes in a number of different variations, whether it's parts availability, sonically welded components, like there's a lot of different ways that you can make it impossible to actually work on the items that you actually own. Pathfinder, Black Guys, Lost, Wasteland 3. Yes, Civ is a weird one for me because Civ is such a weird one for me because I look at I don't enjoy Civ. I really don't, honestly. It's just something about it. It doesn't play nice for me, but every time I put it on my computer, because I keep going, well, I really should like this game on paper. And it just doesn't line up for me. However, that doesn't mean that every time I try it, I don't go like 10, 15 turns in, go, wow, I'm really not enjoying this. And like 50 turns later, I'm still playing the stupid game, really not enjoying myself, but still just kind of there. But yeah, so that's a whole thing. Connector, pin header, 2.54. All right, I am not sharing the appropriate window right now. Let me see if I can fix that. Doom and Destiny Advance, kind of a JRPG spin-off. Even free or $2 for a bit more content. Should play that again now I know D&D is. Hey, there's the window I'm working in right now. Boom. All right. One by 2. 2.54 vertical. Don't want SMD, and I don't want 1 by 3. Can I just associate? Okay, whatever. Let's just click for a minute. We're just gonna double click this 40 times to get the footprint assigned here. Funny thing is, power in, also the same connector, jumper and jumper and jumper. It's just going to be a whole bunch of the same thing. And now the resistor. I want to go find my resistors through hole. And I don't want a array, I want a normal. Oh, I can never remember which one it is. Axial, it is of a dimension that I cannot remember. Let's take a look at what my measurements say. I measure this thing. It's 7 millimeters or so down. Axial, 3.6 by 1.6. That's way too small. See a 2.54, 9 by 3.2 by 2.54. I'm gonna try that one. And we'll see if it looks right. All right. Over there. Oh, that's the wrong button. Nope. Close that. Open this. Click this. Alrighty. Now, into the fun part. Ba-ba-bum. Nope. There it is. Alrighty. So now we have our PCB space. Now we update PCB with changes made to schematic. And that brings in this big old messy array of stuff. I don't think that resistor pin set is right. Just gonna take a quick look. I don't know. losing all of your XY precision for creating small features. So, you know, unless you're building like really big pieces, like this print here in particular actually would probably be pretty good for a large diameter nozzle. But a lot of the stuff that we print here just wouldn't work very well, because you'd lose too much. 0.3 on it right now. Yeah, I've gone with smaller nozzles, but yeah, I had a 0.1 on there for a minute. I tried it just to see what I could do. It takes forever to print anything, and honestly, so the big problem you run into is that your layer lines are your weakest point mechanically, right? So if you want something stronger, you make a thicker layer line. Now, if you want something prettier, you make a thinner layer line, and that's fine. However, when you get into like a 0.1 millimeter nozzle, pretty much your entire part is all layer line. There is no like mechanically strong portion of it anymore because it's all shear lines all the way up. And I'm not saying that you can't get good interlayer adhesion and stuff like that, but a 0.1 millimeter nozzle is not going to be able to fuse to everything as well. The Saboteur, there you go. But yeah, I've seen people print with like 2 millimeter nozzles and stuff like that. I think probably the stupidest printer I ever saw though was at the university, somebody's capstone group decided they wanted to try and create a large format 3D printer. Now, large format 3D printers don't work super well. Part of it is because even the smallest amount of shifting and vibration can cause massive differences